The World Bank has forecast that more economies will contract this year than at any time since 1870. The OECD have said that they expect the global economy to contract by 6% this calendar year. In comparison, during the GFC, at its height in 2009, the global economy only contracted by 0.1%.
Australia has passed another dismal landmark, with unemployment topping 1 million for the first time in 22 years.
The unemployment rate is masked by JobKeeper, Tom. And, you know, you can't have JobKeeper for 5 years. You can have it until the next election, which could be late next year. And I think that's part of the government's thinking. Don't worry about that. Scott Morrison got offended when I asked him about that, but I think that's very much the way of thinking, because it's better to have 7.5% unemployment as you go to an election, or perhaps 8%, than it is to have 13%.
The Treasurer said this week that 6 million people are covered by JobKeeper and 1.6 million are getting JobSeeker, which more or less adds up to what CBA has found. But only 823,300 of them are counted by the ABS as unemployed, even though they're not actually employed. If all those people were counted as unemployed, the unemployment rate would be, well, 58%.
Australian government introduced tougher foreign interference laws, banned Huawei from being part of the 5G rollout. More recently, Scott Morrison called for an independent inquiry into coronavirus, and then
Australia's barley industry is expected to take an annual $500 million hit after China announced it would impose a crippling 80% tariff.
Now it's beef. Our largest trading partner suspending imports from 4 abattoirs. Beijing blames labelling problems, an issue that dates back more than a year.
China has decided, in order to protect our consumers' health and safety, to suspend the import certificates and urges Australia to correct the problem.
And now it appears our wine industry is coming under threat. In a statement, the Chinese commerce industry says the Ministry of Commerce has decided to initiate an anti-dumping investigation on imported wines originating in Australia.
The tech sector has been the major driver of US equities, and that's partly why the Australian market has been left behind this year, our relatively small tech sector.
On a day all other markets took a tumble, the stock exchange losing ground and new property data showing prices dropping for a 4th month in a row. The Reserve Bank warning economic support will be required for some time, keeping interest rates at record lows today, but economists predict that won't keep the property market steady.
I reckon we're looking at a 10 to 15% fall from the high point.
This is the deepest, most damaging recession that most of us have lived through and will live through.
Is Australia in recession today? Well, the answer to that is yes. This was the economists' version of Armageddon.